it's time for a GarageBand quick jam about velocity. It's all about controlling how loud or soft your music is. Let's go. So first of all, what is velocity? Well, velocity is basically volume, but more correctly, it is how hard or soft a MIDI note is triggered. So if you picture a piano keyboard, like this piano here, we can go in and for each note that has actually been triggered, we can tap on it and see which velocity. And the higher this velocity is, the louder the note is. The lower the velocity is, the more quiet the note is. And velocity will apply to any of your MIDI or virtual instruments. So anything like the virtual bass or guitar that we have here, your drum kits, and any of your keyboard instruments will all have MIDI note information and therefore have the ability to change velocity. Now to edit the velocity of a single note, we tap on the piece of audio here, we tap on edit, and then we find the notes that we have here, and if we wanted to adjust one particular note, we tap on the note, we tap velocity, and now I can change this velocity from medium to very loud. Now this piano part here has been recorded with the velocity sensitivity set to high, which means that we have control over how hard or soft the keys have been hit, and if we play it back, you can hear that the velocity is high and then low and then high again. And if we tap in here and we go in and edit, we can actually see this by looking at the notes. So in the middle here, we look at the velocity and it's lower there. If we go towards these end notes, the velocity is high. Now to adjust the velocity sensitivity, we go into our keyboard instrument like this, and then we go to the settings at the top here by tapping on the mixer icon, go to track settings and velocity sensitivity. So now we can have it high, which means we'll get a big range of loud to soft, medium, low, or completely off. And if we record with it off, every note we hit is going to be at the exact same velocity. So here now is some audio that we've recorded with the velocity sensitivity off, and if we go in and edit this, we'll notice that every single note will have the exact same velocity. Now unfortunately, when we have the velocity sensitivity set to high, medium, or low, and we have different velocities for every note, there's no way to actually change all of these at once. You'd think that we'd be able to copy all of those and then tap on one and adjust the velocity, and the velocity should change for all of these notes. However, it will only affect the velocity of that one individual note. However, in the case of our performance where the velocity is all of the same, we can actually make this change, because if the velocity of each one of your notes is the same, we can do this and we can go to velocity, adjust all of those, and now each one will be at that same velocity. So changing a group of notes is only possible where the velocity of every note is already exactly the same. And there is one more velocity setting that we have here, which is actually in the settings of our MIDI track here. But what this velocity will do is will uniformly take the entire velocity of the track up or down. So if we put the velocity of the entire track down, it'll sound like this. And if we turn the velocity up, it will sound like this. So it won't make the volume uniform, it will just shift any volumes that we have in the notes, and you'll notice here that changing that velocity will not actually change the velocity settings of any of these actual notes. And finally, for any of our touch instruments, velocity works in almost exactly the same way, where we can just come in here, select velocity, and adjust the velocity of that note. And one final thing about velocity is for some instruments, velocity will actually change the sound of the instrument. So if you have velocity set low, you'll get a very subtle sound. And then if you have it set high, especially in things like string instruments, you'll get a more harsh plucking sound with that velocity set high. So if you've got a sound that's not sounding quite right, check your velocity settings and maybe you'll need to dial them down or up depending on the sound that you're looking for. And that is going to do it for this GarageBand Quick Jam. Not exactly a perfect implementation of velocity here in GarageBand iOS, but there's a few ways that you can work with it. If you've got comments, questions, or suggestions, leave those down below and I'll see you in the next video. Hey, did you know that we have more than 30 GarageBand Quick Jam videos right here on the channel? That's right, there's 2 of them linked right down below. You can also subscribe to the channel by clicking on the link in your top right there, or go to studiolivetoday.com for more audio goodness.